Okay, let's talk change. If I were making a change today in my approach to wellness, nobody likes the term diet. I hate the term diet. For lack of a better word, if I were starting a diet today, if I were trying to lose weight today, what would I do? First of all, I wouldn't try to do everything all at once. That's a recipe for failure. I would start small so I have room to build, because we all know what plateaus are, right? We all know what those look like. They are not fun and we hate them. We work so hard, and then all of a sudden we stall out and we don't know what we can do differently and nothing is working. We want to avoid that for as long as possible. It's coming for you. If you have significant weight to lose, you are going to hit a plateau. But we're going to be ready for it when it comes. Today is not that day. So if I were starting today, I would give myself room to move when those plateaus hit. Because plateaus are destructors. They will ruin a weight loss journey out of frustration. And we want to avoid that as long as possible. So I'm going to start small, because any change is going to be good change to my body. Mindset. Number one thing, I am letting go of the timeline. I am letting go of setting goals. I don't care where I am at the end of 2025. I just don't want to be where I am right now. So if I am half a pound thinner on January 1st of 2026, I made progress, because I'm not 5 pounds heavier and I'm not the same. And if that is the way I have to inch this along over 10 years, in 10 years, I will be where I want to be. But if I don't make any change, or if I keep doing what I've always done, I'm probably either going to be the same weight or heavier in 10 years. So who gives a shit how fast I do it right now? Because any change is better change than I've done in the past. And I'm letting go of having some arbitrary number determine my success. So anything in the right direction is me doing the damn thing. That was a huge mindset shift that I made. I just let go of the outcome. And I said, my goal has no number attached. I get where I get, and as long as I'm making progress going this way, overall, over 365 days, not over a week, not over a month, over 365 very long days, that I'm making progress. Okay, so 1% better. What is one food change I can make to be 1% better right now? So for me, that meant I'm not changing what I eat, I'm changing when I eat. And that might feel like bigger than 1%. And I guess it is in a way. But I didn't count calories. I didn't make that my goal. What I first started to shift was how I ate, when I ate, not what I ate. What I ate wasn't where my focus lived. So what I did is I said, okay, look, I'm a fat woman. I'm 300 and some pounds. Any change I make where I am not eating as much during the day in terms of timing is going to take care of this whole caloric thing for me. Because here's the deal, I can't keep track of stuff. That feels like shackles on me for whatever reason. I don't like having calories to count, an app to go into. Some people do. They need that. I'm not one of those people. I need freedom. It's very restrictive to me to have to follow a plan. It's very restrictive to me to even have to eat food somebody else has prepared and dropped off for me. Like, I need freedom. I need to be able to make my choices. Now, without getting too deep into any kind of spiritual woo-woo stuff, I know that I am a manifesting generator. I need variety. I need control. I'm an emotional processor. So a lot of that falls into step with this. But also, on the flip side, if we are talking any kind of like spiritual, I have my sun and my moon. So my ego and my feelings are sitting in my birth chart in the house of routine and rituals and health. So for me, I'm very prone to something that is ritualistic, which is eating at certain times during the day, but I need the freedom to determine what those foods are going to be. So I had to work with that energy that works for me. And that's what ultimately, without even knowing this, I did not know this when I started my food journey, when I started making changes. But as I went along and I started to grow internally, and I had, story for another day, life took me in a different direction. I started to learn these things about myself. And I was like, well, that makes a lot of sense. I wish I would have known that at the beginning of my journey. I wouldn't have had to have done so much trial and error. But we're talking about what I would do, knowing what I know now, starting then. And this is what I did because something internally knew. I had made a mental shift that said, this is the last time. I am fighting literally for my life here. And that was enough. That was enough for then my inner knowing to take over. I trusted the intuitive guidance that my body was saying. So when that popped in my head, I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. I'm going to try that. Instead of going, no, that's not what they tell me. That's not what diet culture tells me. I need to move more, eat less. No. What I need to do is let go of restriction, but I need to frame it around routine. So if all I do is eat twice a day, I don't snack, I don't force meals, I don't feel like eating, I only eat twice a day. And I say, okay, the science tells me if you don't eat past 7 and you go to bed at 11, I've had time to digest it. I'm going to be a little bit hungry when I go to bed, and that's the sweet spot because you want to get into that ketosis state because that's when you're starting to burn fat. That's when you're burning fat rather than muscle. So if the science told me that, like I knew enough, I had done research, that's what I would do. I wouldn't eat past 7. And I wouldn't eat before 11, preferably 12. So I had a good window of time where I'm just in fat burning. Boom, 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 boom. And my metabolism is kicking up and it's burning that fat, and I'm peeing in the middle of the night because I'm drinking water and I'm losing weight. Even though it's the holidays and I'm still eating cookies and I'm still having 2 cocktails. That was also another rule I made. I did make that rule. I won't have more than 2 drinks with my dinners, and only when I'm eating out, not at home. Okay, I can do that. I had already given up diet soda, so that wasn't one I had to tackle. If I hadn't given up diet soda, I don't think I would have shifted the drinking as quickly. I just think I might have shifted what I was drinking. I might have gone from, a syrupy cocktail or a high-calorie beer to like a vodka soda with a lime, something like that. But I definitely would give up the diet sodas before the drinking, which I know probably sounds counterintuitive, but the diet sodas are just going to keep me in this perpetual state of dehydration, of craving. It's simulating sugar in my brain, so it's making that same response. Even if there is no sugar there, my brain doesn't know the difference. It's still simulating that response. So that's what I would do. And then once I mastered that 1% change, then I would probably tackle the alcohol. Now, that's saying I don't have a significant alcohol problem. So you have to kind of adjust accordingly. This is what I would do. This is what I did do. And I went through the holidays doing this. I never felt deprivation. I'm a cookie monster. I love cookies. I keep them in my house through the holiday season. I always have, even on this whole weight loss journey. And I don't want to live a life that I can't have a Christmas cookie. That's just not a life I want to live. I just don't. I want joy, and those bring me joy. Is it a mental thing? I don't know. I don't care. I love Christmas cookies. I am not going to go into a place where I can't have things I love. I just have to choose, what do I love most? I can't love it all. I can't love it all. That's a story for another day. This is what I would do right now. So what does that do? I'm not counting calories. I'm not watching what I'm eating. I just only eat twice a day. I eat till full. When I am full, I am done. I don't go for seconds. I don't overstuff because I'm afraid of when my next meal is. I have to be really honest with myself. Now, on the days that I did overeat because maybe it was delicious and I got caught up in a moment, or I lingered at the table, holidays, you linger at the table and so you get full, but then you're sitting there long enough that you're like, oh, it's kind of starts snacking. That's a 20%er day. That's not 80%. Over 60 days of the holiday, not even. Well, I mean, kind of. We start early, we end late. So let's just say the holidays are 60 days. 20% of those, what is that, 12 out of 60? Did I do good math there? I think I might have. 12 out of 60, 48 days. I'm doing it right. I like my odds. It's certainly better than my old odds. So let's just go with that and forgive ourselves for those 20. Now you can't have you can't have a day where you get caught up in a moment and you eat too much and you go, oh, that was a 20%er. And then the next day you're like, oh, that's 20%. And the next thing you know, now you're at, oh, that's a 30%. Oh, that's a 40%er. Uh-oh, now I'm at 80% in the wrong direction. Be a scientist. Let's say that happens. That doesn't need to derail you because you've already been making enough progress. I'm going to give you an example. Last year, I was doing a trial group, just figuring out, what does this, coaching thing even look like, working with people? Is this something I want to do? Blah, blah, blah. So I put together a test group of women. It was honestly magical. Of women I went to high school with that I had kind of fallen out of contact with, and we were all friends in high school, and we all came back together. We were all on this journey, and we all came back together. And there was so much healing that took place in that group that was just beautiful. And anyway, one of the women in the group was struggling pretty significantly from a health perspective. Wasn't just a weight loss, feel good for myself kind of a situation. It was literally really a health issue for her. And she was so focused. But there were a lot of days that she started out well, and then maybe the day took a turn for whatever reason. She worked a very stressful job. There was very stressful circumstances that happened during her job and during this time period. And so she was laying foundations, right? She was doing the mental work. She was doing the spirit work. She was shifting eating patterns. And even though at the end of the 3 months, she wasn't where she wanted to be, and she didn't feel like she had successfully completed our time together, what she had done was start building trust with herself, because she might have a blip, a moment that got away from her, and she would reset. Every time she would reset, every time she would get 1% better. And we are a year out, and she has lost about 100 pounds. She hadn't lost any weight while we were working together. But what she had done was lay a foundation of trust with herself. She had started to shift things mentally. She had started to learn how to forgive herself and build trust with herself. And she started slowly over time to start to shift those percentages in her favor. She let go of the timing. She let go of the outcome. And a year later, she is living the life she almost lost the year before. And that's what I mean. You gotta let go. You gotta forgive. You gotta shift. You gotta let this process unfold. And if you try to do it all at once, you're setting yourself up for failure. You might have short-term success. You might fit in those new jeans on Christmas morning, but you won't be wearing them come March because you didn't do the work to maintain, to build trust, to heal, to forgive, to change the patterns of behavior that drove the issue in the first place. So if I were starting right now, I would start small. I would choose one thing I promise myself around my eating I would stick to through the holidays. I would practice forgiveness when I forgot that thing. It's going to take a while to build that muscle. Just reset. Don't reset tomorrow. Don't be like, oh, I blew it today, I'm going to go out tonight. No. The minute you know you ate too much at that dinner table, that's the reset. You go, oh, well, that sucks. Back at it. And you go right back into your focus mode. And you catch yourself, because the more you start catching yourself, the more you can start creating those changes you need to create. That's how you build lasting change. That's how you start to build lasting change. Okay, I think that's enough for today. If you were inspired to make 1 or 2 changes that'll serve you well over this holiday season, put it in the comments. I'm curious what it is for you. It's not going to be the same for everybody. Everybody's journey is different, but let's support each other. Let me support you. Put it in the comments. Give me a like. Give me a subscribe, because I'm keeping this going, guys. This is just the beginning. Let's do this thing together. You've got this.